What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Land, and we are now 21 days until that Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, officially being 3 weeks away. Tomorrow, 20 days. We're almost in the teens. Guys, we are getting super close. And of course, my job until we reach that coveted Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is to just hype you guys up and just to generate hype until we get there. The last couple of days, I've been talking about this big 3D Mario game that's coming, probably being revealed in this Switch 2 Direct. Well, today, I want to talk about how we are 21 days away from an inevitable Zelda announcement. Yes, this one's for the Zelda fans out there. I do believe full-fledged, wholeheartedly, we are going to get a big Zelda announcement at the Switch 2 Direct. But unlike the 3D Mario game, where we know it's going to be a 3D Mario game, what is this going to be for Zelda? Now, there's of course a lot to unpack with this one, so before I dive into all that, we of course have the question of the day. Today's question, funny enough, is a Splatoon question for the Zelda video, and it's by Octoblade64, and states, what new weapon type do you want in Splatoon 4? Now, honestly, I don't have much after Splatoon 3. I think my only two things that I was thinking of was some type of ink sword and an ink bow, and we got both of those things. Now, personally, the bow wasn't what I was expecting. I was actually hoping to shoot a projectile out, like maybe even some type of ink arrow that would then detonate, but the way it's handled, it's a little bit different, so maybe a new type of long bow that's more focused on aim and accuracy. And same with the Splatana, it wasn't exactly what I was expecting from an ink sword, so if I had to pick something new, I mean, honestly, probably something like a paintball gun. I know you're like, what? But hear me out. Something that actually shoots a projectile out and does a lot of damage. I know lots of the time you're just kind of shooting ink, so shooting like an ink ball that you have to hit people with would kind of give it more of a shooter vibe to it, and I feel like it'd be something a lot different and cool for them to go with. Or besides that, maybe an ink spear, an ink gauntlet, or ball and chain. I don't know. I mean, at this point, they've touched on a lot of things already, so I don't really have anything in particular that I need. Remember, if you want your Switch 2 hype comment featured on the next video, comment the word hype in all caps, followed by your Switch 2 hype comment. A couple of weeks ago, I made a video talking about what is next for Zelda, but today I want to focus specifically on this upcoming Nintendo Direct, and do we see Zelda here at all? A lot of people might say no, considering the fact that we just got Tears of the Kingdom back in 2023, so they might just completely write off the idea of getting any Zelda game, and I want to start off by saying that's absolutely not the case. However, I do want to state I don't think we're seeing a brand new 3D Zelda game or even a brand new 2D Zelda game announced in this show. No, I absolutely don't think so. In fact, I don't think we'll even see a trailer for this next 3D Zelda game until like 2027 probably. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope it's sooner, like sometime in 2026, but I think the Zelda team is hard at work at the next game, and it's going to be a little while until we see it actually come into the light, just because of Tears of the Kingdom coming so late in the Switch's life cycle. But that doesn't mean that we're not getting anything Zelda related. And you might be wondering, if Nintendo is going to announce something Zelda related within a Switch 2 presentation, what in the world is it going to be? Because it would have to be something still somewhat big, right? I completely agree. I don't think they can come in this presentation and just say Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, moving on to the next thing. They definitely could, I guess, because it's something that fans really want, but when you're showcasing a brand new console, you're going to want to show off that brand new console's power. All the games that you show have to show why you want to play it on Switch 2. And to me, it's screaming something really important for Zelda that's maybe not as big as the next 3D or 2D mainline game, but something that's more of a giant remake of a past game. So if Zelda is in fact going to appear in this Switch 2 Direct and as a remake, I feel like it has to be a big remake. And what games would justify a huge remake like this? I feel like it should be 3D and linear like the past Zelda games. It looks like we are moving towards this nothing but open world style of Zelda game, and they're still working and tweaking the formula a little bit, just like they added dungeons in Tears of the Kingdom. So I feel like the next Zelda game is really going to be a best of both worlds, but still a lot of fans want that linear experience, and the only way we're going to get that again, it seems, is if Nintendo goes back and remakes past games, like they brought Skyward Sword HD back to the Nintendo Switch, they could do the same thing with older 3D Zelda games as well, like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, or just completely from the ground up remake some games like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I think that's the best option right now for a Switch 2 reveal, a huge Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask remake. Personally, I would go with Ocarina of Time at least first. That's the game that people know and love, and maybe give it like a kind of spiritual remake, something along the lines of maybe even Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, or maybe you're adding some new combat options, some new locations, and maybe some little, quality of life changes and some things just to make the game better, and bring it to a modern point, but also keeping the story the same and maybe not tweaking it as much as they did with Final Fantasy VII. But yeah, something like that would be really cool. This could also be something to definitely show the power of the new console, a game remade from the ground up with extremely good graphics. And a lot of people are trying to figure out how Nintendo could possibly top their amazing year of 2017, the start of Nintendo Switch. That launch year was phenomenal, with both a brand new open world 3D Zelda and an open sandbox Mario game. Well, to have Mario and Zelda year one is pretty big, and that's another reason why I'm expecting Zelda here. Also considering the fact that Zelda has appeared in every single year outside of 1 year for the Nintendo Switch in some capacity, whether it be remakes, remaster, ports, spin-offs, something of that nature. Zelda is always there. It's like Mario and Kirby, there's always going to be a title every year to look forward to. So I am wholeheartedly expecting it this year, and I'm expecting it to also be announced in the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, to even beat that 2017 launch lineup they had, with a Mario Kart and a 3D Mario plus a big Zelda remake. Oh my goodness. Now, there is a chance that this Zelda game could be one that maybe we aren't hoping for, and here's why I don't believe this is so. Now, there's a rumor out there suggesting that Breath of the Wild is coming back to Nintendo Switch 2, and it's actually going to be, with better graphics, which, if it looks like anything that this video is displaying with this 8K footage, yeah, it would look pretty good. Is it still an incentive for a lot of us to come back? Maybe not, because with Tears of the Kingdom added to the list, why would we want to go through this giant open world doing the same things that we've already done twice? Yeah, I don't really have an incentive to revisit this world a third time, but I will admit it will bring some people probably with the graphics, so if the graphics are really that nice, I could see it, but I'm hoping that this isn't the case, and I don't think it is. In a year where you're probably also going to have a big open world 3D Mario game, because all the rumors, and even if you look at things like Bowser's Fury, are pointing to this next Mario game being fully open world, then they probably don't want it to clash with something like Breath of the Wild at that same time point, you know what I mean? So if something like Breath of the Wild is getting a 4K or 8K edition, whatever it's going to be in the future, it's probably not going to be in the same year as this 3D Mario game. And that's why I'm kind of against the idea of seeing something like Breath of the Wild this year. Instead, giving us something that's more linear, something focused on that classic Zelda feeling of dungeons and puzzles and completing story elements like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, even Wind Waker. I feel like one of those games are a lot more likely. And maybe that's why we haven't gotten Wind Waker or Twilight Princess yet. Maybe Nintendo is really in their bags and they're trying to completely remake those games from the ground up and make them even better than their versions on the Wii U. I mean, one could dream, but for instance, in my opinion, Twilight Princess could still look a lot better than it did on the Wii U. So maybe they're doing some stuff to show off the graphics and show how that game could look, because remember, that is the most realistic depiction of Zelda and Link that we've ever seen. So maybe we actually get something like a super hyper realistic Zelda game. You know how people have been wanting to see a super extreme graphic Zelda game that's almost realistic, and a lot of people are like, no, Zelda's not supposed to be realistic. Well, if they do it with something like Twilight Princess, it would make a lot of sense, and it'd be a great way for them to show off the power of the Switch 2. Something like Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Majora's Mask. Shoot, eventually I would even love to see the Oracle remakes, or maybe even a Link Between Worlds or a Link to the Past remake, who knows? But I think right now, something that's a big linear 3D Zelda game like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, or maybe even Twilight Princess would work perfectly for a huge brand new remake on Switch 2 and be a pretty big addition for year one of Switch 2. But let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with me. Do you think we're going to see The Legend of Zelda at all in the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, and in what capacity? Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.